Welcome back to the catch up here on Cris Cyborg's YouTube channel. I am James Lynch. She is Cris Cyborg. Cris, how's your week going? How's everything?
Great. Thank you, James. Here's very cool. I'm very excited for see my next fight and being training and getting ready, be ready, and I'm excited for that announcement soon.
Yes, and we're very excited to see when that fight comes out. I know we're eagerly waiting to see when you'll get back in there. Before we dig into the news here today, just want to remind everyone to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already. We do the show every Tuesday, and we'd love your feedback. We're always looking for new show ideas, new topics to talk about, so don't be a stranger in the comments, and definitely hit us up on social media if there's anything else you'd like to see discussed on here. We got a lot to get into today. It's a jam-packed show. Let's start first with Bellator 264 last week. Gregard Mousasi, former Strikeforce champion, just like yourself. Impressive win over John Salter. You know, that was a risky fight for Gregard. I don't think a lot of people gave John Salter a lot of credit, but Gregard went out there and finished a guy who's very tough to finish in John Salter. Just your thoughts on his performance on Friday night.
You know, Mousasi, I hear about him beginning my career. Like his long-time legend. I think people don't give so many credit for him, but man, he's fighting. He's had a lot of fights. So I believe he deserved the victory, and then he's tough. He's a great fighter. He's a complete fighter. You know, a lot of people don't give it too much credit, but a long-time legend.
He is. And, you know, people always talk about UFC and Bellator. Let's not forget, Gregard Mousasi does have a win over Chris Weidman. I think a lot of people forget that. If he was in the UFC, he'd be fighting for a title over there as well. So you got to remember how good Gregard Mousasi is. Looks like we've got Mr. Van Zandt, Austin Vanderford, up next for Gregard. Austin's look very impressive, but that's a big step up, in my opinion, to fight a guy like Gregard who's got so much more experience. What do you think about that fight? Because I think it's intriguing, kind of like we had a few weeks back with AJ McKee and Pitbull. Same sort of thing, up-and-comer and Vanderford taking on Gregard Mousasi.
No, I think the experience is going to be a lot of difference, you know. Mousasi have 5 wins in the UFC, and then have 6-1 in Bellator. He's had 56 professional MMA fight. Yeah, like it's a lot. And they're outside the kickboxing fight. I believe it's gonna be a tough fight, you know, for for Austin. Mm-hmm. And he trained with King Mo. I know King Mo beat, you know, Mousasi, but I believe King Mo have a better boxing. Yes. I think he more have a better box than Austin, you know, but in the rest of the both is good. I think the strategy for him to do, I think also going to have to take down him. And Austin went to your show too. Yeah. And just for people remember, he's 11-0 in Bellator, but I believe he didn't fight guys top 30, you know, his division. I think Mousasi is going to be a tough fight for him.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because this is the first time in my recollection over the last couple of years where Mousasi's fighting an up-and-comer, right? We haven't really seen him fight anyone. You look at all the guys he's fought in his career, they're mostly veterans, they're mostly legends, so definitely an interesting factor. And I forgot about that King Mo factor. Yes. If you remember, King Mo beat Mousasi in Strikeforce to win the title, used his wrestling, and it was sort of something that stayed with Gregard for a while, people being like, can he beat a wrestler? And obviously he's had a lot of success since then. So yeah, I can't wait for that fight. And you're right, Austin was a co-host on this show, so little cool tidbit as well. Speaking of former guest co-hosts on this show, Raufeon Stots, what a win that was over Magomed Magomedov. A lot of people are counting him out. You know, this is Magomed, for people who don't know, is a training partner of Zabit Magomedsharipov. So for Raufeon to go out there and get it done, huge win. And we've got this interesting scenario now, Cris, where Raufeon, the champion of Bellator, is his training partner, Sergio Pettis. So I know they're willing to fight each other. But just first, how impressed were you with Raufeon and what he was able to do?
You know, I believe it was the best fight of the night that day, you know, and Raufeon, people think he's going to lose because he's no head, but he's showed better wrestler than Russian, you know, and for sure that eventually he's going to fight his partner, you know, Sergio's the champion, but he showed great, he showed a lot of aggressive in the fight and great wrestler, you know, he's beat the guy in the wrestling, yes.
I think something else, and we'll move on from this fight, but you got to look at level of competition. Magomed's fought some good guys, including Petr Yan. I think that's the one. I mean, he actually has a win over Petr Yan as well. But you look at Raufeon throughout his career, nothing but tough opponents, and I think that really served him well in that fight as well. You know, maybe helping him and learning a lot from some of those losses as well. So we'll see how Raufeon does in that title fight. Looking forward to that. And then the last thing we got to talk about on the Bellator card, Pam Sorenson, nice win. She's in your division. That looked like a pretty solid win on Friday as well.
No, Pam, she's very nice. I met her a couple of times. You know, she did a great fight, you know, great to win on top of the Brazilian. And she's a Invicta champion. You know, I know Dan White talk a lot of things about her. You know, that probably is upset now. It's very sad. But she's really a former 145 pounds. And very nice. She's with us. And in future, for sure, I believe I'd like to see, you know, Invicta champion against Bellator champion. And it's going to be a great fight.
And someone else the UFC did not sign. I never understood that. In fact, I thought Pam was going to be on The Ultimate Fighter, and they never put her on that season. So not sure what happened there. But anyways, let's move over to boxing. Your friend and another former co-host of the show. It's like an all-star lineup here on the program when you're not here. Vergil Ortiz Jr., what a win that was. How impressed were you?
Man, I was so happy there. The people, the family there is so sweet. I love them, and it was very tough to watch people you really have, like them, you love them. And then his 18 wins, 8 knockouts. It's like he fight on tough guy. He's really fight a tough guy. In the beginning of the round, he's want to go forward. Even it was a very, very hot fight. And then he's get it to, knock down him like 5 times. It was a great, incredible fight, and he's trained really hard. He's a lot of experience, young too, 23 years old.
I know. We forget how young he is. It's crazy just how much potential he has. And there's so many fun matchups going forward. Crawford, there's so many options out there. So we'll see what's next for him. But really, really good performance there from Vergil Ortiz.
People didn't know he's ever 23 years old, but people didn't figure out he's have a lot of amateur fights.
That's right.
He's have a lot of experience. He started training with his dad 5 years old. So I looking forward to see the fight Buddy Crawford for soon, maybe end of the year. But it's gonna be a great fight. Yes.
We do have a UFC card this weekend. Jared Cannonier, Kelvin Gastelum in the main event, and I'm sure you're familiar with Kelvin from your time training at King's MMA. Who do you like in that fight? Because it's a tough fight for both fighters, and especially for Kelvin, who's coming into this one off, I think 4 of 5 losses coming into this fight.
Gastelum loved to fight, and he's training every day. He's really have fights. He's in the gym training. I believe he's gonna prove. I see he's very motivated for this fight. I know they say, okay, sure, this, but it's not. It's like 10 weeks training. He's really focused for his fight, and I believe he's gonna have the best plan and get the win. And I can see him be the champion, future champion in UFC. He's young and continue work hard. I believe.
And let's not forget, he's given Israel Adesanya the toughest test he's had in the octagon. I mean, he nearly finished Israel in that interim middleweight title fight. Even Jan Blachowicz, who beat Israel Adesanya earlier this year, did not do as much damage as Kelvin did. So very interested in that. I'm interested in the wrestling, Chris. Can he take down Jared Cannonier? We'll see. Cannonier, very, very, very solid fighter as well in his own right. A bit of news this week. One of your former opponents, the former Bellator featherweight champion, Julia Budd, is a free agent. I know she wants a rematch with you. I know she's also been saying maybe PFL, maybe the UFC. I imagine that's a fight you'd like, or what are your thoughts on Julia being a free agent right now?
For me, in my career, I don't think I needed the rematch. But if Scott Coker would like to do the rematch, I was open to do the rematch. But I don't know how many fights I want to have. But I would like to fight people I didn't fight before.
Yeah.
Instead, if I can fight Amanda Nunes, that rematch I would like for sure. But I have Kat Zingano, have Shanae. I think I have a lot of girls in the division. Pam Sorenson, have a lot of girls in the division I would like to fight. And I don't know. Let's see what's next chapters.
And it's understandable. I mean, the fight between the two of you the first time, I mean, you beat her decisively. It wasn't controversial. So totally understand that line of thinking. And if Julia resigns, then that's just another fun fight they could build up to as well. So a lot of options there for Bellator, which is great. Unlike the UFC. What's that?
Yeah, but she went to her show, I wish her the best, for she find a place she wants to stay. But she went to her show too, just for a shout out for her.
Although it does seem like the UFC's featherweight division holding on by a bit of a thread. I see Holly Holmes now fighting at featherweight again. So we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do as far as that goes. We got a bit of an anniversary. The 12-year anniversary of your fight with Gina Carano has just passed. If you guys haven't watched the fight, I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably watched the fight. If you haven't, one of the best fights of all time. I don't think people realize at the time how big that fight was and how that really helped propel women's MMA. But it's just interesting because, I mean, A, that was a great fight. B, it was back when there was only 3-minute rounds instead of 5. Like, just looking back on that, how much do you feel like that fight has helped the growth of women's MMA looking ahead now?
It's so funny how I look at the video, I look at the pictures, how I was so young too. If the head I have now, like mature, fighter, mature person. But that fight was amazing fight. And there was, Scott Coker always, the beginning, I already believe in women's MMA. And, be the main event that the first time in the history, 145-pound fight for the title. And for me, I came into America, don't speak any English. Everybody booed me in that fight. First time in my career, everybody woo for me when I come inside the arena. After that fight, no anymore. But But it's really, really nice. Just thank you for Gina Carano and thank you for Scott Coker for the opportunity. I think it opened the door for a lot of women's MMA. Having a girl in my house, she's 28. She was 17 when I was fighting, Gina Carano. My daughter, 1 year. Like it's amazing how the sport grows so much, and I feel so blessed. The beginning and they continue, see the house growing and they continue fighting.
You had blonde hair back then too, I remember, right?
You what? Sorry.
Your hair was a different color, wasn't it? Yellow? Yeah, you had blonde hair.
Yeah, that was blonde hair, yes.
And there's that great shot, I think Esther Lynn took it actually, of you punching Gina in the face and you just see the impact of the shot. Do you know what shot I'm talking about? Where it's like an up close shot as I'm punching the mic here.
Show my name in the picture too, like my arm tattoo.
Oh, it was such a good photo. Go back and watch that fight if you haven't seen it. A lot of people talk about Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche as being one of the best fights because it was the first UFC women's fight, but your fight in Strikeforce, amazing, and just the crowd and everything. And you talked about the booze, but people were into that fight. It was a really, really awesome fight and a very important fight for women's MMA as well. Speaking of fights...
And they changed the time, sorry. They changed the time, like you said.
Yeah.
It was 3 minutes, then changed the first time for 5 minutes, the fight. 5 rounds in 5 minutes supposed to be.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. They did change. Yeah, exactly. So again, it's we're seeing the evolution of the sport, and I think you two were both a very big part of that as well.
Even the box, I think they had to switch too. Then now it's 2 minutes. Girls fight 2 minutes. I believe 2 minutes very short. I've been doing sparring boxing 2 minutes very short. I always try to do the 3 minutes, but no. Hopefully in the future they can change too for 3 minutes like the men's. I think the girls already proved we can do the best, in their time.
Absolutely. Yes. And you think, everyone talks about how great, boxing is and everything. They got to catch up to MMA in that regard in terms of changing some of the rules. So I'm with you there.
Yes.
Tito Ortiz, your former coach, manager, is going to be boxing. I did not see this coming, Chris. He's going to be boxing Anderson Silva on the same event as Oscar De La Hoya and Vitor Belfort. What's your prediction? Because it's going to, Tito's not really known as a boxer. He's, wrestling, ground and pound. That's sort of been his game. And Anderson Silva, we saw him box Cesar Chavez Jr. How do you look at this fight? It's going to be interesting.
I think it's going to be a very big challenge for Tito, but I saw his back to training. I was guessing he's going to fight again, but it's going to be a big challenge because, Tito is a wrestler. The whole his career, he's used the wrestler for beat people. Now he's going to have a really big stand-up and, and they do the boxing. But the one thing I saw, like Anderson Silva told him is he had to cut 190.
I saw that. Yeah, what's up with that?
Very big for cut 190. I know he's having the best cut in his career. We trained together, and then before he's helping me my cut weights. He's really have a lot of experience in cut weight. I believe that this fight is really very important. How does he cover about this cut? And this is because it's very important to be hydrated when you're getting punched in the head. So I believe he's need to be really careful about his cut and be hydrated for this fight and for do the good fight with Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva will be really fast too, but let's see, it's going to be a big challenge for him.
Yeah, I don't know why they made it 195. I'd like to know, because Anderson's fought at 205 as well. Or 190. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. So it's even lower.
Yes.
Because Tito's never fought that low, at least not recently. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. You're going to be traveling again. You're going back to Colombia for some more stem cell stuff. This is something we've talked about on the show before. First, any worries about traveling? We're still in a pandemic. Is that something that concerns you at all?
I went to Colombia when it was the after I got COVID,
right.
Last year, like the beginning of the year, and I'm going again. It's very safe there. I stay the hotel is a 4-star hotel. We stay very close to the mall. The places is the Bioaccelerate. And I'm going to do the IV. I'm going to do the some place I have the injury and for getting better. I love the people there. And there is the Medellin is the Bioaccelerate. It's the best place. It's a lot of the best fighters go over there. The pro wrestlers, like MMA fighters, and I really see the results. I really feel healthy. My old injuries, I don't feel anything, man. I can't believe it. Like my wrist all the time pop out. If you see my old videos, I always have tape in my wrist, and I don't have this problem anymore. It's very, very, very unbelievable, and I'm happy to do the treatment.
And yeah, just to mention that again, it's the Medellin Colombia is where they have the stem cells treatment, and it's Bioaccelerator. Patricio Pitbull also went there to get some stem cell stuff done as well.
I think Humphrey just left over there. I have a lot of famous pro wrestlers over there. I have a lot of, Chelsea, I think, went there. I think a lot of people went there.
Yeah, it's very innovative and like, hear from the champ herself, Cris Cyborg, that it really is beneficial. So if you're a pro athlete, it's something you definitely got to take a look into as far as some advancements in recovery. Let's get to our Portuguese saying of the week as we're wrapping things up here. I figured I'd switch it up. We're still technically in summer here. I like rollerblading. I know rollerblading gets a bad rap, but if I was to say, let's go rollerblading, how would I say that in Portuguese? Because I know rollerblading is kind of a weird word.
I know. I believe in Brazil, some people are going to say rollerblading.
Yeah.
But some people are going to say, like, vamos andar de patins.
Okay. I got to slow that one. So vamos, I know that first part. We always cover that one. Then how do I say, And then so how would I say the other part?
Patins.
Patins?
Patins.
Is it bachis or pachis?
Patins.
Pachis?
B de Peter.
Oh, B? Okay.
B de Peter.
Okay,
Peter.
so Peter?
Patins.
Okay, so let's say that one more time. So vamos, and then what?
Vamos andar de patins.
Andar a patins.
Patins, yeah. Or people, I believe because we're going to say vamos andar de skate, or vamos andar de rollerblading. I believe some teenager now, young, they're really going to speak the word in English, rollerblading. Yes.
Rollerblading. Okay, yeah, I heard skate in there too. You could say roller skating. I think it's kind of the same thing, right? So it's a little bit similar. I'll have to go back and watch that one. That's a more of a difficult saying there as well. Before we get out of here, got to remind people of the premium service, CrisCyborg.com. And we also got to remind people, I got to say this more often, it's such a good feature on your site. You take cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin. It's something we always talk about on the show. So if you have any Bitcoin, you can use it to pay for anything on Chris's website. And the premium service, there's the Q&As every couple months. There is or every month, I should say. And then there's the behind the scenes videos, exclusive content. And Cris breaks a lot of news on there as well. So if you guys are definitely digging all the content on Cris Cyborg's channel here, you get even more on the premium service for less than a cup of coffee, right, Cris? That's the big thing.
Yes, I just did the premium service yesterday. It was really nice. And we always putting on my website, the news about me every day. And it's nice to be touching, with my fans. And the crypto make everybody happy. I know I have a lot of crypto fans. So we put in the website very nice. And if you do the service, premium service, every Thursday, we have Techniques Thursday, free for you to watch. I just finished the series, 50 hours with the only Barbosa, she's a former judo Olympic. And she's here doing MMA now. But we did some series together, the video for the whole year. And the people are going to love. And every Saturday on my YouTube, we have NEC fights, the event in Brazil. But every Saturday, 8 a.m., we have a new fight from NEC fights on my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to follow up, it's very nice. And yeah, that's it, James. I really appreciate your time.
Awesome. And just one more quick note, follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Lynch on Sports. You can check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Lynch on Sports. We'll be back next week for another episode of The Catch Up. In the meantime, like we said, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It's an easy way to support the channel and help the show continue to grow as it is. For myself, James Lynch, that is Cris Cyborg. We'll see you next week and enjoy the fights this weekend. There's a lot going on, so really appreciate you tuning in.